Hey, YouTube viewers, welcome back. This is a holiday farm fire update. Specifically going to be talking about the southwest corner of the fire, along with the western edge, as I've had a couple of questions that have come in on the comment side of things, and it's just so much easier just to record my screen and talk than it is to type. So, um, first things first, we've got the live fire detection that's telling us, hey, we've got a pretty active heat signature here in and out for the night. The other thing I'm seeing here with the satellite data is that we've got some pretty powerful readings coming out of here. So megawatts, that's the energy that's coming out of these gullies and valleys that have and have not or have trees that are in various stages of growth. So what I mean by that is I'm going to just pull this off because it gets way too busy. But if you just see what type of land we're working with here ahead of this fire, it is largely already harvested at least once, if not gone through, a cycle or two. Um, you can see we don't even have Fall Creek all the way until we get to here. Here's the head of Fall Creek Lake, okay? And that distance is 6 miles. And that's due south. Now, one of the questions that we had was, what about the wind? And the wind, has it changed? The wind, can we expect it to help us or hurt us? Well, right now, until about noon tomorrow, you're going to get probably some nice, easy little easterlies that are going to help kind of nudge that fire. It's not going to blow that fire like it did on Monday night or even Tuesday. And as you can see, when we get to the afternoon, both Saturday and Sunday, we're expecting westerlies to pick back up and to be a little stronger, right? So, if anything, that's going to help push the fire back into itself, along with the fact that it's going to have to go through some varying degrees or varying levels of fuel. Now, most people are going to say, oh, yeah, that makes sense. It's probably not going to burn as fast. Some people with some scientific knowledge and understanding and background might actually say something to the opposite, like, it's going to create some sort of vacuum and it's going to make it burn hotter, right? That is true, and we've seen that. We've actually seen a lot more of the really strong heat signatures, and also some of the higher temperatures come out of areas where the fire is acting, not uniformly, across the line like you might expect just a straight old growth forest to do. So, I'm going to bring this guy back out, but because you can see here with the topography, we've also got a fair bit of the resources that, I am willing to bet are sitting on these logging roads out here right now, actively burning lines between some of these already been logged patches, right? That may be how they're actually building like a secondary line instead of just the road. They can use the creek drainage. The topography up here, it's pretty steep up here, but then you can see as it kind of just gets down into the, just much less foothills, it just kind of meanders its way right through, 3,000 feet on down. And I guess I've never noticed if I have driven on that side of town when I've been down there towards, Lowell or Dexter or anywhere, but I guess I haven't really noticed that topography. You can probably get a sense if you're down there that this thing is just going to start roaring right down, the side of the hill at any point in time. That is I would say highly unlikely, even if we get these easterly winds to continue on until like even later afternoon, right? There's still a lot of room that's got to be covered in there, a lot of different things that have to happen in order to, make some of those fears come true. So that's first thing. I want to make sure everybody, has an understanding as to what maybe like a really hot fire above them, like kind of kind of looks like, and then what some of those realities are that it's going to bounce around through all those foothills, kind of coming down into the valley level. So other spot that I want to talk about here is I had another question, real detailed question, which is awesome. This spot right here, this is an interesting spot because it's been a little persistent. It's also been an area of the fire that was extremely volatile, and at one point through some up and over this 2,000-foot ridge, from the Johnson Creek drainage here. So, as that fire, was contained up there, a lot of people breathe, had a big sigh of relief all the way on down to Walterville. Um, this little spot right here, it's a big concern for a lot of people that are right down this creek drainage, Johnson Creek in Leeburg. Okay. I'm going to pull this guy out here because this will help you get a sense as to, what we got going on. This is Leeburg, the town, as you're driving through on 126, right? So that at the bottom of this creek drainage, you've got, a bunch of structures, right? So, structure, as we know, is, call it like priority number two after life when we're talking, fire, priorities and what they're able to do. So again, a lot of those resources trying to think and understand, well, what's the best way for us to be able to contain this little spot right here and not have it go anywhere else or flare up anymore? And do we backburn it from, all the way less than a quarter mile up from town right here? Just to take care of it. The other part of the question is it's public lands. It's old growth BLM parcel right here. So, it's a real tough question because, hey, we've got easterlies that are just kind of, nudging this thing. How close is it getting in there into that old growth strand? How much uh, of an underbelly does that old growth strand have? Has it been maintained? Has it been taken care of? And if it has, which hopefully it has, because what we're seeing here is not a very hot read from the temperatures. Um, Yesterday morning, but in the afternoon, it got hotter and it got a little stronger, right? So that's a big concern for a lot of folks that are down in Leeburg right now. Is it breathing its way down uh, the creek drainage? Well, we don't know live satellite wise exactly. Right? I'll tell you what we do know though. We do know is that that little blip that registered at 138 degrees, with 3 megawatts of power at 2 in the afternoon, isn't generating anything that's going to look like this live view right here, right? So we're not going to see any of this. It's the GO satellite is going to tell you whether or not there's a heat signature. And then the color that we see is the timing of when that heat signature occurred from where we are right now. So the red means within the last 10 minutes. Yellow means, where are we at? Within the last hour. No? Wrong button. So orange is 10 minutes to an hour, yellow an hour to 6 minutes or an hour to 6 hours. And then gray is 6 hours or longer, right? So no matter what, 6 hours from now, this is going to look gray, right? Or up until 6 hours from now. This is over here, it's going to look gray. Um, Hopefully. If not, if it's red or if other areas become red, then that's what you would have as, a fire that's really pushing its way through all different types of fuels and materials. Is that happening right here? No, I don't think so. I think you've got too much patchwork of fuels for it to just do that type of mentality. And still, you know, we've got right now 4-mile-per-hour winds, and that's not expected to pick up. All of a sudden, as we get into the morning, by noontime, we're supposed to start to see west northwest. So I am really hopeful that this fire right here can be contained by the land, by the firefighters, by the weather. And I am hopeful that this isn't growing. And if this pushes itself and grows itself back into this little peninsula that did not get burnt yet, and just flares up a little bit more, that's also going to be okay as long as it keeps pushing its way that way, right? So if that's tomorrow afternoon and the winds are nice and steady at nice 8 miles an hour, just pushing all of that heat further away or further back into the fire, that's going to be a really good situation. So, hopefully everybody can take a little bit of comfort in that tonight. Whether or not you're down in Dexter, Lowell, Fall Creek area, or whether or not you've, just sitting there in the hotel or in the parking lot or wherever you're holed up at family's house, wondering how the town of Leesburg is going to do. So hopefully everybody can get some sleep, and I'm going to try to too.